Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We're back on our 76 Trans Am, and if you'll notice, we got a little bit different scenery. We have moved the car over to a different part of our shop. This is our main shop here. We've got our two-post lift. So this is where the car's sitting at now. We're getting ready to disassemble the car and take the rear end out, the subframe, the engine, the transmission, just get it stripped down to the bare shell so we can get ready to install our new floor. So let me get it flipped around here and I'll kind of show you around a bit. So again, we've got the car moved over here, and if you'll notice, try not to pay attention to our walls. We're in the middle of doing a remodel in here and painting the walls and getting everything done. This is our main shop area where most of our work happens. We've got two buildings here on the property, and this is where most of the fab work, the assembly, disassembly, and main work goes. Of course, we've got our Trans Am there. We've got 72 C10 project that we're working on, full roadster shop chassis underneath it as well, LSX supercharged, blah blah yada, you know, whatever. We'll talk about that later. But today we're going to be working on back on this one. We're going to try to get it stripped down. We've come in on a Saturday just trying to work. We're going to kind of take it easy and get this thing stripped down to where maybe Monday morning we can start installing a new floor. So one of the first things that we need to do is get the car picked up on the lift. I want to go ahead and remove the drive shaft, make sure any of my brake lines, brake hoses, any of that stuff is undone for the rear end. We'll get that done, and then we'll set the car back down. We can loosen everything up while it's on the rack, and I'll show you why we're going to be replacing this floor pan as well once we get it in the air. Okay, so we've got the car picked up, and we're going to go underneath and kind of show you a couple of things here of what we're working with. And another light here. You can see here that the old floors are that they put in, or the new floors that whoever installed, are really, really rusty underneath. And you can kind of see what kind of job they did of putting those in. And it's not good. All this over here on this side, they did a good job of trying to weld the holes, but they didn't weld anything there from the floor to the rocker. You can see here that the inner rocker on this side is not even attached back here toward the back. So we've got that to deal with. You can look here above the exhaust, all that hanging down there, that's body filler where they tried to fill in rust holes. Just trying to show you everything here. This is the metal that's hanging down everywhere. It's pretty bad. So being able to put this new floor in, look at this. This is rust here that they just kind of went right back over. Didn't really fix anything, so it's pretty bad, but the good thing is we're fixing to make it look all brand new again. So let me get in here and oh, look at there, that's nice. Not even a bolt there in the leaf spring hanger. There, good weld right there. All right, well, kind of know what we're working with, so let's get it stripped down. there she is. Body separated from the subframe, the rear end's out. And what I did is there's just 4 bolts that holds the subframe to the body. You've got one there at the firewall that mounts up there, one underneath the body. I just took a floor jack and supported the transmission. We're going to be separating the motor and transmission off of the subframe. We'll be selling that, and then the subframe can go and be reused. The rear end is already sold. So we've got a few little things to clean up there. Looks like there's an old ground wire to take off of the body. But that's it. Take this core support off. Do that. Roll all these parts out. Get them outside. And clean up and get the body back down, braced up, and ready to start cutting the floor out. So there we go. We've got everything cleaned up. Our motor and transmission rear ends all out of the way. And before we set the body back down, figured I'd give you guys one more look at the underside of this with everything cleaned up and out of the way there. You can get a better look at how the floor looks right now. And like I say, I had these old rusty panels that they put in. They left old sheet metal there. I'm not really sure what's going on there. I mean, it's just that's a mess. This is what we're cleaning up. And again, on this rocker over here, there's no plug welds whatsoever. There's some holes, but there are no welds. So we're going to be cleaning all this up here. Look at there. There's some more daylight there, and little hairs hanging out there from where they wire welded it. More daylight. Again, just more of the reasons why we're taking all of this out and starting over with a fresh new floor pan. Just kind of wanted to show you guys that before we set it back down and get it on some jack stands and get it leveled up and start prepping the floor to come out. And we'll show you what we're going to do there. All right, so we got our main shell set up on jack stands and everything's leveled out. We set a level there on the rocker and got it level, and we've got one up here on our dash, and it's sitting level as well. So I've also got our new floor pan set up in here on a stand, and just kind of comparing real quick the way this pan is made and looking at the original. There's a couple of things that I'm gonna have to do. First of all, this is an automatic car, so this hole here was for your shifter cable, and then these bolts is where your shifter actually bolted down. But these two here and this one here is where your factory console mounts in. So I'm going to have to remove those and do some careful measuring, and I want to cut those out and be able to reuse those on the new floor if we need them. I know these two here we'll need. I'm not sure if we'll need this one here, but we're going to cut it out just in case. We'll make notes of it. And to do that, we've got to remove all this factory seam sealer that's on here, clean it up to remove the spot welds. We'll drill the spot welds or any kind of welds out, and then remove those as well. We have to do this seam back here the same way. This is where your factory seam sealer is here. We'll be removing all of that. So it's a good little bit of cleanup to do here before we actually start removing any metal. I want to take some careful measurements here. Our new pan comes with a toe board, but I don't think it comes all the way up. I think it's going to stop a little lower. So we need to measure all that out and make sure we've got we don't cut too much out. And then once we get some of these parts here, I think I'm going to come in and just remove the bulk of this floor, and then we will come back in and then kind of clean up our edges and kind of remove anything from the inner rockers and remove any of this here. Another area of concern is our bracket there for our rear seat belts, which this floor has that already welded in, but the way this bracket is made, it goes to the inside or the underneath of the floor and comes out, and then so we have to remove a couple of spot welds in here. We'll need to look at that real close and make sure we get those removed on the old floor before we take that out. So good. Let me get in here, start cleaning all this up, and see if we can get these brackets removed. Alright, so there we got the console mounts cut off. We've cleaned all the seam sealer off of our factory seam back here across the back, so we know where that's at. I've also come in and cleaned up the seam sealer there from the inner wheel well to the trunk floor on both sides. We'll be doing mini tubs on there, so that'll have to come out anyway. We've cleaned everything out. And so at this point, I want to put some temporary bracing in here from side to side, front and back, to keep anything from moving when we cut our floor out. Then I'm going to come in and start cutting the bulk of this floor out. We'll probably use a Sawzall, we'll use a cutoff wheel and a grinder, probably a couple other things just to kind of cut the bulk of this out, and then we'll come back in and kind of strategically cut all of our spot welds and any kind of welds here around the inner rocker. We'll cut all those loose once we get the bulk of the floor out of the way. So let's get some bracing put in here and see if we can get this thing cut out. So this is what we come up with for our bracing. We run this is just 3/4 square tubing, and we welded that from post to post, and then I run one all the way up to the front, and then just kind of triangulated it out. And the idea is here that it's gonna gives me a spot to stand and work out of once we get the floor out, and I'm going in and doing all of my trimming work and prep work for the new floor to go in. Everything is up above the floor everywhere, so it won't interfere when we take the floor out through the bottom, and then we'll bring the new floor back up from the bottom as well. So again, it's just, we just temporarily welded this in, and then we can cut this back out once we get the new floor in and get it welded in and everything's good to go. I think this will keep this from definitely moving in this way or spreading out, and I think with these corner braces here, it should keep it from twisting any which way. So we're going to go in here and start getting all the trimming and cutting done and see if we can get the bulk of the floor out. so now we have the biggest bulk of the floor cut out. I've actually got some room where I can actually get inside here and stand and work. So what I'm going to do is I've got a cut line laid out here on the front of where I want to cut. And I've still left enough room there to where I can actually go up a little bit more. I didn't want to cut too much out. I'd rather cut back a little at a time. And on the back here, I'm going to go ahead and start kind of cutting back and peeling this thing back like layers almost, working around this rear subframe. I don't want to cut into that. And then cutting around our rear seatbelt bracket that goes in. So it's going to kind of take a little bit of time here to do that and kind of strategically cut that back. And then once we get all that out of the way, we still have to go back in and cut our excess that's left on the inner rockers. We have to cut those out. We kind of left all of that there, so we'll do a little bit of trimming up there. So it's going to take a little bit of while and a little bit of prep work, but this to me is kind of the most important part, because good prep work makes it to where when the new floor goes in, it goes in a lot easier, and it goes in the correct way. Okay, so we've peeled back a little bit more of the floor back here in the back, and I wanted to show you something just real quick. So, get the camera here. The rear subframe that comes back, we're actually going to reuse part of this. This is the original subframe, and this bracket that it lays down inside of there. I'm not sure if you can quite see that, but it lays down inside. Our new floor comes with this bracket, so we need to go in and strategically remove this bracket from the subframe or this rear rail here, so we can lay our new floor down into that. And we also still have to come back in and strategically cut away our overlap here on the rear. Now for the front, I've cut a little bit more out up there, and what I did is I kind of cut up the side there, and on the firewall has the mounts for your inner fender, and then this plate that comes down and actually has your front body mount and stuff in it right here. So we're going to try to reuse this plate. So I've got to trim the floor off of the back side of this. And so again, this is just where kind of you have to surgically kind of remove some of the metal here, because you don't want to cut all of this bracket out, because we are going to try to reuse that. Our new floor does not come with that bracket there. Okay, so I'm standing inside the car, and it's just going to show you here. I've got most of the driver's side cut loose, and this is what we're looking for here. This is our factory sub rail that's running back, and I told you there there's a bracket attached, and that's actually on our new floor, so we won't be needing that. And so I've cleaned all that up. We've cleaned the inner rocker up, got all the old floor pins and cross members and stuff off of there. And what I did up here at the front, this is our front body mount up here that we've left. And over here in this corner, I've actually left part of the original floor here. And the reason being is if I don't, hopefully you can see that, if I don't leave this, I can't get in here to spot weld the back side of that. So when I cut my new floor, I'm going to actually overlay it here just a little bit, and then this will give me something to weld to there on that side. And then we've still got to go back in on the passenger side and clean all of this up here. This is kind of what we're looking like on this side, and I haven't determined yet what we're going to do. I'm just going to kind of start working my way into it. You know, I have a new rocker for this side, and if it looks like we need to replace that, I will, and I think we are, so I may not have to do a lot of trimming. So I just kind of I'm going to start back here on this back and get this main bracket out of the way. It's got to come off anyway, and then I'll kind of determine how we're going to address doing this rocker here. But either way it goes, I still have to come in here and trim this part off here of the floor from our front body mount. And so let me get that done there. I didn't want to bore you with that. This is a lot of labor that goes into this. Very, very time consuming to cut all this out where you don't damage your inner rocker. And then you know, cutting all this bracketry and stuff loose without damaging that. It takes a lot of time, and kind of got to really be careful with that. So let me go ahead and get all this knocked off, and then we'll address what we're going to do with this rocker. So now we've got all of the front body mount, the sheet metal off of it. We've got our rocker pretty well. I think I know where I'm going to cut it. I'll show you that. We've got our rear leaf spring hanger mounts and stuff out. We've got it stripped down to the bare sub rail here. So we've got that on both sides sticking out. We've got all of our original floor pan that overlaps onto this rear panel. We've got all it cut out. I do have to finish cutting the seat belt bracket, and then this is the mount for the rear bump stock for the drive shaft and rear axle. On this side here, so we've decided to go ahead and cut the rocker out. This has a lot of damage. Somebody's tried to put a outer skin on it at one time. All this is pulled away, separated. So I'm going to come in, and we're actually going to replace the inner and outer rocker as a complete unit. I'm going to come in and separate it here, and then up above into this valley here, we're going to separate all of this. And at the front, we're going to leave all this inner structure here and come in and cut the inner rocker out. All this is pitted up pretty bad here. So we're going to cut all this loose. And then let me jump out and I'll show you what we're going to do on the outside. So now on the outside of the car, I've got the new rocker trimmed down to what we're going to use. As you can see, I've got the outer rocker here. We've trimmed it back, and we've left the inner rocker here. And I'm going to come in and separate all of this outer rocker from the inner structure. There is a little bit of rust in here that I will take care of. I just didn't see a need to replace this whole panel here, so we're going to leave that. So I think I'm going to come in and just kind of start whittling away, trimming back a little bit at a time, and getting the old rocker out without doing too much damage to our structure where we're going to be welding back into. The back should be pretty easy, I think. This front up here may be a little time consuming, but anyway, that's what we've got so far. Everything's looking really good. The driver's side rocker's all cleaned up. Got everything cut there, and I do have enough room on the front there from where the toe board comes up and meets actually the firewall. If we need to trim that back some more, I can. So that's where we're at right now, and so let me get in here and see if we can get a rocker panel off. No more rocker. We do have the rocker on this passenger side cut out. We've got a little bit of trimming to do. I'll show you here. We've got to cut a little bit more of this inner structure out here on the inside, and then finish trimming up. I just kind of went below. I've got to cut this piece out. It kind of goes underneath there. We got to cut all that loose, and then we'll get ready to fit the new rocker in. And a little bit of trimming back here where it rolls around. So there's our new rocker laid next to what's left of the original. And the original's a little smaller because we did cut off some of this back here when we took it out, just so we kind of make it a little easier to get out of the way. This kind of lines back up to where it's to where I cut it, and it kind of shows you what I'm going to be putting back in. So we've got to finish trimming that up over there on this and start. I'd like to go ahead and get that clamped into place and tacked up before we start fitting our new floor. Everything is now cut out of the way. We've got a little bit of cleaning up stuff to do here on the inside, but I want to go ahead and put this up here and just kind of test fit it and see what this is looking like. So let me get this clamped into place and see if we're even halfway close. So now we've got the new rocker fitting into place. You can see everything lines up pretty good there. We've got a good gap between the rocker and the quarter. Everything around the back side lines up really good. I don't have it, we've just got some temporary screws to hold it in place. there. We fixed our little rust there on that side. And the inner structure, we've come in, we put some paint there on the back side of the body mounts, and inside where the inner rocker comes in, all that's been painted on the back side there. And we've cleaned our rear sub rails up and drilled our holes for plug welds that will weld up from the bottom side once the new floor goes in. So at this point, we're about ready to put the floor in. We've got a little prep work to do there, and I think we'll finish this one up and pick back up on the next video with the floor. Thanks for watching.